Welcome back, true believers and all you spectacular Spidey fans, to the very first episode of Marvel's Spider-Man 2 101. And oh my god, I can't believe I'm actually saying that. So whether or not you're someone who may be new to my channel, or you're a longtime member of the Spidey Squad ever since the early Spider-Man PS4 days all the way back in 2016, my overall 101 series is pretty much your one-stop spot for anything and everything that you need to know about any and all upcoming video games. And as you would expect, those games previously related to Spider-Man PS4, Marvel's Avengers, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, and now we have two major Insomniac games with none other than Marvel's Spider-Man 2 and a complete shocker with Marvel's Wolverine. And while those were some pretty short teaser trailers relating to both of these upcoming Insomniac Marvel games, there was actually quite a lot of information revealed about both of them that was fully unveiled on the PlayStation blog website. So for the sake of keeping things simple and straightforward, I am going to fully break down all the information that was unveiled about Marvel's Spider-Man 2 in this video, and then break down all the information for Wolverine in another video. And coming straight from the mouths of the developers themselves of none other than Insomniac Games, they did go and post this on Twitter after revealing both of these Marvel projects by stating, "We are ecstatic to announce Marvel's Spider-Man 2 and Marvel's Wolverine are coming exclusively to PlayStation 5. Stay tuned for more information, hashtag Spider-Man PS5 and hashtag Wolverine PS5. And while I'm sure there are a plethora of you out there who do not own a PlayStation 5 yet, just think of the graphical capabilities that Insomniac are going to be able to pull off with both of these massive Marvel properties running exclusively on next-gen hardware. Plus, Marvel's Spider-Man 2 doesn't release until 2023, so hopefully your waiting will pay off with a symbiote-themed PlayStation 5 bundle that you may be able to purchase once they do reveal hopefully limited edition consoles down the line. And as a bit of a sidebar, I just absolutely love it that we get to see Insomniac use the official hashtag for Marvel's Spider-Man 2, being hashtag Spider-Man PS5, as a way to make it feel like we've finally come full circle ever since the incredibly early days of seeing Marvel's Spider-Man be initially revealed and simply be known as hashtag Spider-Man PS4. But as you see at the very end of their initial Twitter post, we do have a link to a PlayStation blog article which dives a bit deeper into what exactly we can expect within Marvel's Spider-Man 2 in its early phases of seeing footage from it. Now, the coolest thing about this article, which is titled "Veteran Developer Insomniac Games are creating two new titles for PlayStation 5 consoles," is that it was actually written by Ryan Schneider, who, if you don't know, is the head of franchise strategy and studio relations at Insomniac Games, and someone who I've actually been able to personally interview on the channel all the way back in early 2018 during the Game Developer Conference. And after being able to connect with Ryan all those years ago, I can directly confirm that he truly cares immensely about fan feedback relating to everyone and anyone who plays Insomniac's games, not just for Spider-Man, but also relating to all their other game franchises, and he is truly a huge die-hard Spider-Man fan through and through. And as Ryan actually goes on to describe in the article, "In my nearly 18 years of working at Insomniac Games," wow, has it really been that long? "One of the things I've always appreciated about the studio is how it truly values and fosters collaboration. When we work together, and more importantly, when we listen to each other, the end result is always better. That approach even applies when we work with those outside our studio, as it's been such a pleasure to collaborate with Marvel games. Learning from and sharing with these true believers as we created games such as Marvel's Spider-Man and Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales has been a career highlight for many of us. And what's so exciting is that our collaboration isn't ending anytime soon, as today we revealed not one, but two new Marvel titles coming from Insomniac Games: Marvel's Spider-Man 2 and Marvel's Wolverine. Now pay attention to this next line because I do find it incredibly important and in fact may end up disappointing a few of you who are expecting this particular feature to be in the sequel. Let's start with the one most of you probably could have guessed: Marvel's Spider-Man 2. We're so thrilled to continue the journey of both Peter Parker and Miles Morales in their most epic single-player adventure yet, coming exclusively to PlayStation 5 consoles in 2023. So boom, right off the bat, the first new piece of information besides knowing that Marvel's Spider-Man 2 and Marvel's Wolverine are going to be exclusively on the PlayStation 5, it is officially confirmed by Insomniac themselves that Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is actually a complete single-player game and does not feature co-op in any way, shape, or form. Now, this might upset some of you out there who wanted to actually experience the sequel of Marvel's Spider-Man with a friend where both both of you could play as the two separate Spider-Man of Peter and Miles, swing freely around the city, and just fight bad guys together as a team. But in my eyes, I see this as an absolute win, and I definitely think that this will allow Insomniac to truly dive deeper into the narrative lore of this Marvel universe and give us an incredibly compelling story that may or may not top the first game's narrative within Spider-Man PS4, and just have the ability to possibly tag team with Miles Morales with Peter Parker and be able to switch as both Spideys whenever you want to, based on certain missions that you might go into during the story. As a nice comparison, try to think more towards the Batman Arkham Knight style of gameplay, where you did have the dual play mechanic where you could instantly swap in between Batman and one of his sidekicks, but that game, even though you were able to play as different heroes within the Bat family, was still a complete single player experience. And again, knowing that seems to be exactly what's happening for Marvel's Spider-Man 2 couldn't make me any happier. While pushing the capabilities of the console will be very exciting, we're equally pumped to craft all new stories for Peter and Miles in this sequel. Just as in our previous Spider-Man games, we not only want to tell a great superhero story, but also deliver a compelling human story, one full of heart and humor that dives deep into the people behind the mask. And even though we already expected this next piece of news to occur, it's great to have official confirmation from Insomniac is that much of the development team that brought you Marvel's Spider-Man is returning to produce Marvel's Spider-Man 2, including our main man Brian Intihar as the creative director and Ryan Smith as the game director. Today's game footage trailer is merely just a glimpse at what's in store in terms of the new abilities our heroes will acquire, suits they will wear, more on that some other time, and the villains that will try to hunt them down. And speaking of villains, where I find this news to be absolutely insane is, did you catch that final line at the end of the trailer? We're so happy to announce that Tony Todd of Candyman fame will be voicing the symbiote-fueled Venom in Marvel's Spider-Man 2. We're also delighted to welcome back Yuri Lowenthal and Najee Jeter, who will reprise their roles as Peter and Miles respectively. We've been fortunate to work with so many incredibly talented actors in our Spider-Man games, and Tony has been such a wonderful addition to the cast. Now, for whatever reason, I do see a very strange debate coming from fans online about speculating whether or not it's actually Eddie Brock or Harry Osborn within the symbiote in order to become Venom within this Insomniac Marvel universe, even though it was clearly shown at both end credit scenes of Spider-Man PS4 and Miles Morales that it's clearly Harry within the tank that Norman is trying to find a cure for him, with the black suit symbiote substance trying to keep him alive. And while we are fully aware that Eddie Brock exists within the Marvel Spider-Man universe, I definitely think it's safe to say that Harry Osborn, who was already voiced within Marvel's Spider-Man by Scott Porter, is going to be back as Venom within Marvel's Spider-Man 2. However, the voice of Venom himself is actually going to be none other than the freaking Candyman, which I could not be more hyped about.
Be my victim. I am the writing on the wall, the whisper in the classroom. Without these things, I am nothing. So now I must shed innocent blood.
Still, the game was just revealed and we still know very little about the entirety of the game's story, so who knows, Insomniac may end up actually including Eddie Brock within the narrative at some point during the game, but I definitely think they are going the route of Harry Osborn. We will just have to wait and see. And finally, to wrap up the article, which I do think a few people, including myself to be honest, are a little bit disappointed about, is that being able to build a new original universe with Spider-Man and now Wolverine is such an honor for so many of us at Insomniac Games. A huge thanks to our Sony Interactive Entertainment family for giving us the opportunity to develop these games, Marvel for trusting us with characters that mean so much to so many people, and of course our fans for continuing to believe in us. So first off, everyone be sure to say a huge thank you to Insomniac Games for providing us all these incredible gaming experiences, not just within the realm of Marvel, but also their incredible other franchises, but specifically with seeing both Spider-Man and Wolverine receive brand new PlayStation 5 exclusive titles is something I could have only dreamed about. But as the first part of that last paragraph of the article indicated, is that Marvel's Spider-Man and Marvel's Wolverine take place in two separate universes. And once again, my overall dreams for wanting a Marvel gaming universe have just been crumbled before my eyes. First with Marvel's Avengers, second with Guardians of the Galaxy, and now again with Marvel's Spider-Man 2 and Marvel's Wolverine. But regardless, if that means that they can take as much creative freedom as they want from all the different developers at Insomniac working on both of these major projects in order to give Marvel's Spider-Man 2 and Marvel's Wolverine their own unique identity and not trying to have it connect with the other stories of the other games, I still actually see that as a positive compared to a negative. And I'm telling you right now, if that was the amount of hype that we received for Marvel's Spider-Man 2 and Marvel's Wolverine from the teaser trailers alone, I can only imagine what the gameplay for both of these games is going to look like. Because if 2023 is the amount of time that Insomniac needs in order to make another grand masterpiece of a Spider-Man game, give them all the time in the world. But with all that said, everyone, that's the video that I have for you today, and please let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you think of all this crazy news relating to Marvel's Spider-Man 2, and how hyped are you to actually see official gameplay footage for this title? For me personally, my favorite aspect besides the story of both of these Spider-Man games with Spider-Man PS4 and Miles Morales is obviously the incredible traversal system with the web swinging. So seeing that Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is going to run only on PS5 and seeing how well of an oriented system Insomniac upgraded for Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales in comparison to Spider-Man PS4, I don't even want to think about what the web swinging is going to be like once we see footage of this game in action. But until next time, true believers, thank you all so much for watching. Please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you did enjoy, and for more Marvel's Spider-Man 2 videos like this, stay spectacular, Spidey fans, and peace out.